And now it's the women's equivalent event. It's the Prince Philip. So Princess Elizabeth and Prince Philip are a pair. And in this one, we have Hinksey Sculling School, the community project from Oxford on the left, and Sir William Perkins School from Surrey on the right. Really great start here.
Yeah, really great start. Both crews are quite punchy at the start, and as I sort of mentioned throughout the session, it's really important. They are coming in a little bit together, and it looks like they've been slightly warned for their steering here because they're kind of drifting into that middle lane.
Yeah, it looks like Gwyn Batten, the umpire, has her baton straight in the air, and that means she wants the crews to separate. She's not warning one or the other, they just come a little bit together, as you called it, Grace, absolutely right. But they've moved apart, and they'll be now thinking about that transition as we pick them up just from the reverse angle, and we can see we've got about a length in it at this point.
Yeah, and it takes a lot of confidence from the coxswains to just stay calm and make those small corrections. It does look like they're sort of both still sitting in that middle. It looks like the puddles here are going to be floating down to the other crew, and it can make it a little bit unsettling to settle into your rhythm when you're rowing in that washy water. But when you've got a little bit of a lead, the umpire tends to let you away with a little bit more, I think.
It's an interesting one in the late as well. I think if you're an oarsman, of course, you can see, or an oarswoman in this case, you can see the umpire behind. The cox can't. So somebody has to relay, probably the stroke seat, to relay what's going on, and it can get a bit antsy. You know, you don't really want to be having to steer around here. So, but I think Hinksey looking good. You can see the young cox there from Hinksey, Ottilie Campbell-Reid, just calling her women on, getting into that rhythm they want to sustain through the middle of the course.
Yeah, you can see there's been a little bit of steering, but now they're sort of settling into it, and both crews look like they've come into quite a long, strong rhythm. I think it's really important in this middle stage of the race. As we've mentioned, it's a slightly longer race than these athletes are used to from their usual racing. And this portion of the race in the middle, if you're not efficient, if you're not working well with the boat, you can pay for a little bit later in the race.
And with apologies, I mentioned Ottilie. Actually, she's the stroke, the person setting the rhythm you called, and the cox there is Joel Drake. So apologies, I shall put my glasses on for the rest of this session. So Hinksey leading now strongly through the middle of the course, and Sir William Perkins School struggling a bit to respond. And Grace, you can see the contrast between the two crews a little bit technically here, a little bit more ragged on the right-hand side of the picture. Yeah,
you can just see it's a little bit difference in the unison between the crews. And you can see the blades are slightly dropping in at different times. Yeah, and that does just come with a little bit of experience. The longer you row, you start to kind of fine-tune those things. But you can see when it's together, when you're working as one in the crew, it tends to pay off, and that's what we're seeing play out here.
So Grace, both you and I are stewards. I've been around 10 years and you've joined us fairly recently, so welcome at the board. And as the stewards, we're responsible for the racing programme and running the regatta. One of the things I'm most proud of is so many great women's events here. And this one just came in 2021. And the chance for junior women to race and enjoy what the men have been enjoying for decades is amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. And I think you need these women's races at all different stages. And I was a beneficiary of adding women's races in here at Henley. My first year was 2017, and I was in a women's pair with New Zealand. And when I was selected, there was no women's pair here at Henley. By chance, it was the year that was introduced, and we've had this race be introduced, and then this year, really excitingly, we've also had the Bridge Challenge Plate, which is for the intermediary women's 8, and it just keeps females in the sport. It makes a lot of sense, and I'm so excited to see these races just take off, because there are so many amazing female athletes at all ages out there, and I'm really proud of Henley that it's making really good steps in this space. Well,
and it's great to see the depth and strength of the entries that have grown up in just a few years on these events. We have huge numbers of entries in these events, and in Prince Philip, 32 entries for 24 races, and across the regatta we've got 27 events. 12 of them are open and 11 are women's events. So 7 since 2017, as you mentioned, which is great to see. But let's just come back to what's going on, and the picture hasn't really changed here, with Hinksey continuing to dominate there, looking at the back of Sienna Hardy, Millie Armstead, Alice Pearson, Helen Madrian, Delilah Hampton, Sophie Fletcher, Thea Peters, and then stroked by Ottilie Campbell-Reid, who won the national scores in the 8th and the 6th seat, and Joel Drake in the cox's seat. And let's also just give a name check to Sir William Perkins School, 17 years of age at Bow, Amelie Michael, then Rosie Gurney, Hannah Miller, Elizabeth Robinson, Isla Evans, Camilla Spite, Anna Staples, stroke by Jasmine Irvin Sellers, and Cox by Florence Foster.
I always love the shot when you're looking down the 8 at the backs, because it's not a shot you get to see at very many regattas, and as a spectator, as a rower, and you can see all the arms moving in unison. You can see right from the bow how the boat's moving, and it's really quite a unique shot to kind of get our heads around.
I love it. And also, I mean, from a coaching point of view, by the way, every race is live and on demand, and we're in our 10th year of broadcasting, sorry, 11th year, 10th regatta, due to that thing that happened in 2020. And so you can go back and really look and learn from the tactics, but also the techniques, and I encourage you to do that. We've had hundreds of thousands of views on the most popular videos, and William Perkins will hope to be amongst them. A little bit of steering going on there, Grace, as I'm just looking at the bow ball of the Perkins 8s, cutting through that Henley water.
Yeah, William Perkins here, as you can see, as we say, we talked about that shot, but it doesn't leave a lot of room for hiding, and this is the shots that coaches are about to use, and you can see when the coxswain's on those rudder strings and making slight adjustments, which, as you come down here, you hope will be small adjustments, but really, really impressive and dominant performance from this William Perkins school.
So fantastic crossing the line. And can you hear that sound? That's the sound of what it means to get through around at Henley. And, well, look at the faces there. Really happy with that performance. So William Perkins beating Hinksey School in the junior women's 8s.